Hello, everybody. Sorry, microphone. Today we have Stacey Falletti and Jenny McElroy. A Conner native, Stacey has worked across several industries with a strong focus on business growth within the community. Stacey joined the Conner Express employment team in January of 2018 and has never looked back. Client reach has improved 92% by her focus on matching culture in addition to skill set, which results in productivity increase and reduced turnover. Stacey digs deep to understand the true needs of her clients. Taking this knowledge back to her team where they successfully fill positions from general labor to CEO and everything in between. Jenny is an experienced attorney with an expertise in human resources and employment law issues. As in-house counsel for Express Employment Professionals, she oversees legal-related matters for over 50 franchise locations in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Kansas. In her role, she encounters a broad range of issues, including employment claims, compliance, litigation, contract matters, and acquisitions. So I'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Jenny McElroy, and as our lovely introducer said, I am in-house counsel for Express and very excited to be here in the Woodlands with you. I'm from Oklahoma City, so I travel down here and I feel very honored to be here and also very honored to be with this young lady here.
Hi, I'm Stacey. I'm the business developer for your local Express office. For those who do not know, Express is a local staffing agency. We're a full service staffing agency. And one of the biggest questions that I get when I'm out in the community is, what do you specialize in? What I like to tell everybody is we specialize in understanding culture. Because when you understand a company's culture and then you match the skill set, you can increase turnover, which increases production. And it's something I'm very passionate about, which is why I absolutely love that the topic that we're talking about today, because it all kind of blends in. So we're gonna be talking about designing the workplace for every generation.
Now, Stacey, you mentioned match, and that reminds me of when I first came to work for Express about 9 years ago. My favorite story about what Express does is, you know, those dating websites where, you know, we're looking for love and you're looking because you can't find that right person. Well, Express is like the dating website for employers and employees. We have an employer who's desperate for good employees or the right match for their company, and then we have employees looking for a great job. Express helps you match that, make that match. And speaking of matchmaking, we're talking about generations, so we're going to be talking about all the generations. Stacey, do you have like a generational personal story you want to share with the group today?
From memory.
Yes.
From memory.
No.
Yes, so everybody, let me introduce you to my family. This is my husband and my two boys, and it's been very interesting preparing for today because today is actually my husband's 60th birthday, and I'm super excited. So if you guys want to say happy birthday, Mike, with me, ready? Happy birthday, Mike. Yes, he is 60, and it's been interesting because our household, you know, has 3 generations, and not only are my husband and I in 2 totally different generations, we actually have a generation in between us. So learning about the different generations and the things that we're going to be talking about, and, you know, not just in my workplace, but also at home, it's been very fascinating.
So our goals today are we're going to go through all the different generations that are working in today's workplace, and then we're also going to give you all tips on how you can design your workplace or work your culture to be able to work with all the different generations that are represented.
I got it working now. Okay, so currently today we have 5 generations in the workplace. It's more generations in the workplace than ever before. And we're going to start with our traditionalists. Our traditionalists are born before 1945. You have baby boomers that are born between 1946 and 1964. Generation X between 1965 and 1980. Millennials, everybody's favorite word, millennials. I see the faces. between 1981 and 1995, and then Generation Z between 1996 and 2012. And then 2013, the up and coming next generation is actually currently being called Generation Alpha. And I will caution you, depending on what you find on the internet, and we know everything on the internet is true, the years could change based upon who made that slide. So it's these years are not completely set in stone except for the 1945 for traditionalists.
Yeah, I think you'll see fluctuations as you research this, but this in general is what they say the generations are. So are we ready for our first Slido?
Yes, so we're gonna get into our first slide. If you will pull your phone out, if you will go to the QR code and if you will answer the question, what year were you born? Don't worry, it's all anonymous. Nobody knows who puts what.
Now, for those who missed what Stacey said, we want you to have your phones out and we want you to ask questions and interrupt us as much as you want. So this Slido is pretty cool. As we see, we can start seeing we have a pretty big, broad. So we have some baby boomers, we have Gen X, we have millennial for sure.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You'll see that all the different generations are represented here. So, yeah. Really cool.
All right, so what we'd like to do now is go into characteristics that are commonly associated with different generations. And so our first one is the traditionalist generation. So let's hear from a traditionalist on what's common for them.
Hello to the exciting and thriving business community in the Woodlands of Texas. My name is Bob Funk, and I'm the Executive Vice Chairman and President of Express Employment Professionals. I'm a proud member of the traditionalist generation. Some of the moments in American history that shaped my generation were the impact of the Great Depression and World War II had on Americans. And news over the radio turned into news on the television. The Korean and Vietnam Wars and the integration of schools across our great country. Our values, which are important, are work ethic, loyalty, and opportunity. As employers, one of our responsibilities is we need to attract and retain members of the traditionalist generation.
That was Mr. Funk, and he is a proud member of the traditionalist generation and also very active in our company. He comes to work every day, works very, very hard, and sets an example for all of us as part of his generation.
So next we're going to listen to a local baby boomer.
Hi, my name is Bob Keplinger, and I'm the firm owner of Action Coach Business Coaching here in the Woodlands, Texas. So I'm a proud member of the baby boomer generation. Some of the moments in American history that shaped my generation was the Vietnam War, Kennedy's assassination, JFK's assassination, the Civil Rights Movement, Women's Rights Movement. We were the generation that were first to put a man on the moon. TVs are now in every household. We have a strong work ethic and are very competitive. We're goal focused, we're resourceful, and we're disciplined. Work comes first for many of us. So as an employer, to attract and retain us, to take a democratic approach, ask for advice and take notes to show that you're listening. Respect and honor our experiences. Many of us are thinking retirement, so what are you going to do to retain our knowledge and keep us active in the workforce?
So now let's hear from Gen X.
Hello, my name is Aaron Martin, and I'm the Regional Vice President of Express Employment Professionals and a proud member of Generation X. We Gen Xers are also known as latchkey kids. We experienced the rise of the personal computer, the huge stock market decline, and Operation Desert Storm. It's important to note that we're adaptable, we're independent, and we're creative, although we can be seen as impatient at times. But who isn't? Employers seeking to attract us Gen Xers need to understand that we are the sandwich generation. Many of us are caring not only for our children, but also our parents. We are great mentors, mentees, and we seek opportunities to learn and grow.
Perfect. Our next one is going to be our millennial. Mike, recognize her.
Hi, my name is Krista Hall. I'm the Chief Experience Officer with Express Employment Professionals. I'm a proud member of the millennial generation. Some of the moments in American history that shaped my generation were we don't remember a life without the internet. It's hard for most of us to find higher paying jobs that pay back our loans. We were the first generation to get cell phones as teenagers. September 11th, the Iraq and Afghanistan war, Obama election, Hurricane Katrina. We're social, tolerant of others, efficient, flexible, and like to work for a cause. As employers, to attract and retain members of the millennial generation, give us purpose to work for. Mentorship and handling difficult situations, structure, yes, independence. Understand that we are all about tech and we can help you with that. Listen to our ideas and make us feel like part of the team.
So as Stacey and I were researching this, we had discussions about whether we fit in the Gen X generation, which is the year I was born, I fit in Gen X, or millennial, which Stacey's a millennial. We were like, but we remember the same things. So we kind of found out that we think we're actually zennials. It's like this little weird generation in between generations, because I didn't grow up with a personal computer in my home or the internet. About you?
I remember watching the O.J. Simpson trial, the slow speed chase, right? That was a big defining moment for me. And mixtapes. Who does not remember staying up all night long to wait for your favorite song to come on, to hit play and record, and then have to use the pencil to fix the tape, right? Kids will never understand that tragic moment for us. But absolutely many different things that
We remember when MTV played music videos rather than, I don't know, is it still on? I don't even know.
reality TV.
Yeah.
So-
Win. It's the cheapest way to do it.
So when you're looking at generations, realize that the individuals, whoever they are, who have coined these generational terms and have picked the years, it's a 20-year span for generations, and a lot can happen in 20 years, and even more happens now in 5 years. So, you know, be thinking about that as we get further in our program.
So now we're gonna listen to one of our Gen Zers.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Antonio Webster. I am your administrator at Office Services Recruiter here at Express Employment Professionals in Conroe, and I'm a proud member of Generations Lead. So some of the things in American history that have shaped my generation, to know a few, my life has been greatly impacted from terrorism and warfare. It's also greatly shaped around social media because everything is recorded, documented. We did grow up with smartphones at a young age, and we are very big on ideas of gender equality and diversity. Because of this, we are very comfortable with making friends and communicating openly, and we like to affect change wherever we go. We would like to live in a sustainable environment, and we are very well informed and open generation. So as an employer, some things you can do to attract and retain my generation is to give us a voice and a purpose. We are looking at a long-term financial goal as we envision our next steps in life. So if you give us a career map and mentor us on how to be successful, it'll definitely help, and we look for your approval and want to build a part of the team.
So definitely two things that I noticed from, or things that I noticed from millennials and Gen Z are, they want to have a voice. They want to be a part of the organization. So hopefully we'll be able to give you some ideas on that front, but we have another Slido.
Slido time. What moments happening today do you think will impact the next generation or the generation that's growing right now? See what kind of questions or answers we get. COVID-19, yes, that's definitely a big one. One I didn't think about, cryptocurrency.
Yeah, on cryptocurrency, that's really interesting because, I think we'll see it and it's either gonna really take off or it's gonna fail miserably. So it'll be super interesting to see what happens with cryptocurrency, politics, gender identification, absolutely.
Who said politics?
This was anonymous, Stacey. No. Just kidding.
A lot of people, right?
Yes, the
Yeah.
bigger, the more, the bigger, yes, absolutely. Global warming, social media, absolutely. All of these things are going to be impacting our generation that's growing up right now.
And I don't think that we can even begin to imagine what the pandemic is going to do to the kids and how they're growing up. So it's definitely going to be an example of something big that's impacting an entire generation.
Public space travel, who's gonna be on that plane or on that spaceship?
100%.
It's gonna reduce the cost, maybe a little bit. I would love to do it.
No, cryptocurrency, right?
They take care of crypto, I can do it. All right. So this is a graph that is the current US population and shows all the different generations that are in the workplace, right? Or that are actually living right now. So,
How many 3-year-olds work?
yeah, there's no 3-year-olds. I would, as an attorney, I would caution you against employees.
Stay away from that, like, 9, 12.
Work comp for
Right.
3-year-olds is a nightmare. It's high. But what Stacey and I want to point out with this graph, and when you're thinking about generation in your workplace, and when you're thinking about anybody, is this is just people. So some person or group of people has made up these names to define generations over a 20-year span. That doesn't necessarily define the individual person that's coming to your workplace. We all may have common memories from that are the same as our generation compadres, but that doesn't mean that we have the same life experience, work experience, home experience. So when you're looking at employees and designing your workplace, you want to come meet the person where they are. I saw another TED Talk that's similar to some of the concept we have today about meet people in their oneness. Meet people where they are, and we hope that through this talk you can come up with ways to be able to do that and attract and retain top talent.
Absolutely, because as we were preparing for today, one of the things that we found that was very common was that a lot of people find that the generational terms are condescending. It's demeaning, right? No matter where you're at, it's like you're thrown into something and you're only seen as the worst type of group in that generation. And so instead of taking that moment and looking at that generation, really start looking at the individual, what their strengths are and things like that. And this was something Jenny and I found amazing.
Yeah. I kind of wonder, how did this start? I mean, it seems like every older generation thinks less of the next generation. They think they're, lazy, incompetent, don't want to work, all kinds of things. So I found this quote that says, "I see no hope for the future of your people if they're dependent on the frivolous youth of today." How long have people been thinking that?
2,000 years.
You're correct, sir. This is a quote from, I think it's Hesiod, who is a Greek economist who's like one of the first known economists, and he studied generations, and he had the same thing as the baby boomers are saying about millennials: lazy, incompetent, frivolous. That's been going on for years. And there's stereotypes around each generation, right, Stacey?
Oh, absolutely. Because if you look when the traditionalists were younger, they're carrying around bats, smoking pipes, running around with guns. We didn't do that in the woods, right?
And the baby boomers, you think Woodstock, the hippies, that I think, I don't know any baby boomers who went to Woodstock, honestly. So to have that as the
I know a
generation, I mean, you all may, but I don't know. I know a lot of baby boomers who are just workers.
I know a couple who went and they are making this world a better place every day. Gen Xers, I mean, who doesn't remember or love the Breakfast Club and remember when you could actually smoke in school? I mean, that's what they were doing back then, right? Can't do that no more.
I don't remember that in my school, Stacey.
It wasn't in my school either. I just know my parents met on a smoke break during like whatever period it was.
And the millennial stereotype that every millennial hates is that they're always on their phone. I had a millennial tell me, when we were getting ready for this presentation, I was like, well, if I'm on my phone, that means whatever you're telling me is not that interesting. So, ouch. It's never happened to me. We usually listen. Okay. And then Gen Z, what's unique about Gen Z and amazing to me that, I mean, I know it's a stereotype, but it's also true. They can work across 17 different devices and can teach all of us so very much about technology and social media and all of those things.
And if you think about the up and coming generation, I mean, we really do have to worry. They're not even gonna be able to read lips. So let's see what's gonna happen with them. Yes. But that's where that AI is gonna come in, right? Everything's just gonna kind of come up here.
Yeah, I don't know, Stacey. This is an old book, but I just read Ready Player One, which is a fantastic book if you all have not read it. But it really horrified me for the future. I'm like, oh, okay, a little nervous. I've got 2 little ones. I'm a little nervous.
So when you begin to think about your workplace, right, you're taking that moment, you're thinking about, if I do this with 2 hands. Get a little slide there. When you start to think about everybody in your business, if you really try and take, and you just throw people together and hope that everything works, you might get a pile of people that are here, right? But then it's to blow it right over, one small little thing. But if you really start to look at every individual in your company, their strengths, their opportunities, and start to build your business and your company around that, what you will find is that you will build a team that is solid, depends on each other, and sticks together to build a solid foundation. So that's really the point that we want everybody to kind of start thinking about is how do you build that solid group right here?
So we want to help you design your workplace for every person in the organization, not just every member of a generation. So how are we going to do that?
When you start to think about the employees that you have, everybody's looking at the life cycle of the employee. There's six steps, making sure I have that right. 6 steps to the employee life cycle: attract, recruit, onboard, develop, retain, and transition. We're going to start by talking about the retaining aspect of the employee life cycle.
Yeah, so what we're seeing right now is a lot of transition. So we had a great, it's not recession, but it's like resignation. It's like, oh, that's my saying and I missed it, but it's a great resignation. So we're seeing a lot of employees and people in a transition where as business owners, we want to pull them back into that developing, growing, retaining part of the life cycle. So one of the hot things right now that's really a big topic of discussion in HR world is mentorships. Redefining mentorships within your organization. Think of them less as older employees with younger employees, but match experiences with other employees. So like experience levels in your company so that you can not only create relationships between employees, but you can also help create succession planning within your organization or promote strong relationships. Some other ways that mentorships can help is on the diversity front. You can create relationships between employees on a diversity level and promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in your company by creating these mentorships amongst different nationalities or races as well. So it's really a good thing for an organization to start thinking about if you're not doing it.
Another thing you may want to look at is doing personality tests. I am a huge fan of personality tests because I have multiple. So we just did a personality test with an Express, and we had everyone in our office do a personality test to really talk about how are we communicating with each other. There's so many different types. I've done multiple personality tests with Bob Keplinger. He's actually here right now. He was our baby boomer video. Thanks for doing that. And if you need personality tests, he's great for that. He has done a lot of those with me. They're really good for multiple parts of the life cycle, not just the retaining, but the onboarding, the recruiting aspect. Is this person going to fit into your company?
What skills are you lacking in your employees that you could capitalize? What roles can they fit in your organization? Do they fit in your culture? Because you want to design your workplace to match people within your organization, but you don't want to lose your culture, because that is really what sets you apart from other organizations. But if you'll take the time to do personality tests and team building based on that, I think you'll really find good retention and have good value from those.
Did you pass the personality test? Did you pass it?
All of them.
Which one?
Wellness plans. So I looked up a statistic in preparation for this, and I think over 65% of employees currently in the workplace are thinking about wellness plans when they're thinking about going to work for an organization. And wellness plans is not just your healthcare benefits. People are wanting plans that include mental, physical, and emotional wellness plans. So that could be in the form of an EAP, an employee assistance program that you can get relatively inexpensive for your employees. I've heard of some companies getting like meditation app subscriptions for employees, like the Headspace or the Calm app, really focusing on workplace stress reduction and mindfulness. Also, exercise programs or nutrition information, just ways that you can promote wellness within your organization should set you apart from other companies. And also hopefully decrease your health insurance costs, because people will be healthier and happier.
Another thing you want to look at is unique perks. This is Google headquarters. Now, I know we cannot be Google headquarters, right? But with sleep pods, they have sleep pods. I would actually get some sleep, right? But I thought this one was really cool because this is a simple thing that can be done. I don't know any therapists that come around and do this, but I know there are several local therapists that will come set up shop and do a 15-minute massage on your employees. I will would like to share with you one of my favorite perks working for Express, and that is I get 2-hour doctor appointment time. If I need to I'm a mom, and work-life balance matters. That's what we're all looking for right now. If I need to go to the doctor myself, if I need to take my kids to the doctor, I can schedule that. I can take 2 hours out of my day to go take care of that, and I don't have to worry. I don't have to take PTO time. I don't have to stress about getting in trouble over it or anything. It's a very small thing that I feel that the company thinks they do. It's a huge thing for an employee that I absolutely love for unique perks.
Yeah, and think outside the box on unique perks, because you can do things like casual Fridays or jeans or one Friday off a month that might differentiate yourself from other companies and help you recruit and retain your current employees. If you offer things that are meaningful to them that maybe cost you relatively low.
Another thing Jenny and I found during doing research for today's event was every single generation had the same unique perk request, and that was flexible schedule. We know that's not going to work across every company, but it is something that everybody is looking for. What kind of flexible schedule can I have?
Yeah, in order to keep yourself competitive with other companies, and if you're able to allow that within your industry, remote work options, virtual options, flexible options will really help you attract and retain people.
So it's Slido time. I did karaoke last weekend.
She's gonna sing after this.
No. Okay. All right, what unique perk does your organization have? Or what unique perk would you like to see an organization have?
And if you're sick of Slido already, then just shout it out. Feel free.
Unlimited vacation.
That's actually a really great idea and unique perk for a company to offer because statistically, employees don't take all of the PTO that they're offered. So if you can couch, I mean, you're gonna need to monitor it and make sure schedules are gonna work out and have some real great language in your policy. That's a way that you can sell your business.
5-year sabbatical.
That would be
Who put
perfect.
super flexibility? What does that mean, Lee?
Super, like, this is the thing, and this, people, for the longest time, like, this is one of the problems, we talk about the traditional generation, right? My dad was, remember that, there was the wrong way to do things, and there was his way to do things, okay, in a very particular way he likes to do things. And I see this so much, that there's this, in the workplace, this thought of, well, we've already done it this way, we have to do it this way. The fact of the matter is, people can work from home, people can work in the office, they can work at night, they can work during the day, they can get their work done. People work in different ways, idiosyncratic. And what we've done for way too long is try to fit like square pegs and round holes. I mean, going and sitting in a cubicle all day, man, that's not good for anybody. That's not good for anybody, man. Go outside, do some work outside if you can. Like, have the flexibility to work where you are, whenever you want to work. Obviously within, we have to work as a team, but I mean, that's always, as a manager, that's how I am all the time.
Absolutely. That's
Thank
what people
you.
are looking for. It is.
Cosmetic services, Botox, facials, pedicures.
Sign me up. Closing the office early on Fridays. I mean, that's a great example. I do know several companies that do that. They'll close at noon on Fridays and they may do, a slightly earlier start time. Again, I think this idea that we have to put our work week in 40-hour blocks is going away. The only way that it's still here, in my opinion, is because legally under the FLSA, we have to use 40 hours
Yeah.
for our hourly wage employees, or we're paying a bunch of PTO, not PTO, overtime. Not PTO.
Extra PTO days. That's part of that flexible schedule, unlimited vacation.
I love team building activities. It's one of my favorite things. I know people who hate those, but really, if you'll do them, the overwhelming response from employees is like, I'm really glad that we did that. I got to know Stacey so much better because we did this, and I didn't know she liked fly fishing. She's an outstanding fly fisher. I don't know for those of you who didn't know that.
Because the things come up to bear on me.
They're not waiters or neckers.
Exactly. I knew what they were called too, right?
Perfect. So finally, I cannot underemphasize the importance of communication in your office. You have got to communicate with your employees. Employees have to communicate with each other when there is an issue, when there's a challenge, when there's an idea. Keep that line of communication open because that is going to solve any problems that arise 9 times out of 10, as long as you are coming at it with a good intent and with a good, feeling and an air of cooperation. So communication is key to working with any generation. Get generations together if they are having misunderstanding because of something in how they think the way it should work at work. Get them together and talk about it. Don't be afraid to talk about it.
Absolutely. So in conclusion, one of the things that when it comes to designing the workplace, design it for every person in your organization. The future people that you want to bring into your organization, those that you have. Because when you do that, you build a team that's there to support you, that you can work with their strengths, work with their opportunities, develop mentorships, and you will retain your employees. I will tell you from experience, going out and talking to companies every single day, these are the things that are keeping employees there. And it has been absolutely phenomenal to watch some of these companies continue to grow. And
If you'll recall, our speaker at lunch, MJ, talked about how important her employees were. And you could feel that from her. You could feel how she listened to her employees and she talked to them. That's what makes great companies. That's what makes a great culture. And if you'll kind of if you'll respect and honor the generational moments that impacted us, but that does not define the person.
so thank y'all for coming. We're gonna open it up for questions. I will let you know, we have prizes. What?
We already have a volunteer.
I know. First 3 questions get a prize.
Yes.
Jeremiah.
So, going on communication, I found there's different, people communicate
Yes.
differently, so there's different forms of communication. But then I also am trying to learn, and I struggle with, what might work with one person doesn't work with another, and trying to keep up with the different, like, especially now since, COVID and everything, we use Teams more, IMs, and we're not in the same office all the time.
Yes.
I guess, what is your recommendation or thoughts on, can you over communicate? Or is it?
I don't think that you can over communicate when it comes to addressing employee needs and what they are wanting out of the workplace. There's a really great program that our company does, and it's called SL2 Leadership Training. And I'm sure Bob has heard of it, but it's meeting, so your leadership, you flex it to whatever the person is bringing you on a task base. And so say the person is really proficient at a task, you need to flex your leadership on how to meet that proficiency level. So this is really big on the HR panel, Google it and look into some sort of SL2 leadership training that you can go through and your employees can go through, because it really helps leaders realize how can I meet the employee where they're at on a task. And with the virtual communication, I think having a clear policy on when we're gonna meet, set up those regular meetings with anybody who is reporting to you is critical. So don't let those meetings go by. I think I heard from somebody on a nonprofit that I'm involved with on the board, and he said, well, I can't meet with my employees on this time because I might have a donor or I might have this. And I said, your employees are every bit as important as that donor. Because if you don't have your staff, we can't, this is for Make-A-Wish, we can't grant wishes. So when you think about that, you think about your employee communication being so critical and so just as important as that big client meeting. I think that'll help you with that.
And as an employee, I would say no, you cannot over communicate because every single person's going to hear something differently. You can send the same 3 things out against different platforms, and somebody's gonna pick it up differently. Where if you send out one email, I can guarantee you probably 30 to 60% aren't gonna grab it. So it's best for your employee to open it up and go, oh God, here they go again, tell me the same thing, than to not know it at all. So I'm all about over communication.
Were you gonna say anything?
Yeah, I was gonna say, whoever asked that question, one of the things I've done is I force people to FaceTime. Okay, what you gotta understand is written communication, and I know this as a lawyer, that deals with cases involving emails and whatnot. Written communication comes across completely different than face-to-face communication. And so one of the problems we're having with a lot of and one of the resistance, quite frankly, to having a remote workforce is that, we don't have the same ability to just walk out of somebody's office. So I started making people FaceTime with me, and that way I can see them face to face, they can see me, they know what I'm saying, and they're not misinterpreting a text, they're not, and I can get from them, the nuances or what have you, of what they may be concerned about or something that doesn't come across in a text, right? So I think it's still important, even though we may be working remotely with people, to have face-to-face conversations, because we have all these, nonverbal cues, right? When we're talking, I can tell you if I'm pissed or if I'm happy or whatever. So that's my piece of advice on that.
It's reading that body language.
Yeah.
I do not like to do things over the phone. I prefer to see some face so I can see body language. I read better over body language.
So you
And
talk over one another. When you're on the
And
phone,
I
you
throw
just
things
can't
around
see
with
body
my
language.
hands, so that's why they had to give me 2 things.
Conference calls are obnoxious.
It's the worst.
It's worse when you have some people face to face on a virtual meeting, you have some people calling in and they don't, I mean,
And
That
they're
does
just
not
trying as
work.
hard as they can.
Or people that turn their cameras off.
yes, what are you doing behind that camera? We have a camera on rule.
Well, yeah, purposes together, but some people will turn them off, and it's not necessarily that you think they're hiding something, but it's like, the
Yeah,
purpose of the Zoom, you can just talk about phone call. The purpose of the Zoom is everybody.
I told you the camera.
Yeah, make a camera on roll.
There's a local school district that has that requirement for things, kind of like that.
Next question, anybody else have a question?
We have
I
2 more
actually have a
prizes.
real question.
Yes.
So have you seen the rise of, one thing that wasn't mentioned was, say the rise of the side hustle? Okay, one of the things their employees are seeing, it's hard to retain employees because I go out and be my own boss right now and make a lot more money than I can working for you, right? So to me, that wasn't a thing when I was coming up. Like, I'm so old right now, but like whenever I was in the generation, whatever, the Z, is that the youngest one? Right? Like side hustles weren't a thing. Like you couldn't just hop online and start a business, right? Which you can do now. So have y'all seen that be a real issue that you have to kind of overcome?
Yes.
Yes, I will tell you
A lot
that
of
it's
moonlighting at work,
not a
too.
generational thing.
No, yeah,
I met with a client recently and he, anonymity is important. So he's currently working with his wife, growing a business, which is now no longer, unfortunately, it didn't work out. But on the same time, working for 2 other companies, full-time, 40 hours. You are starting to see that more when people are going virtual, because it's all virtual. It's like, oh, I do, IT, I'll use IT because my ex-husband does IT, will not be virtual anymore. And it wasn't him, I'll tell you that. But this person was doing IT, collecting 2 salaries. And it was very interesting to see that happen. But yes, I'm hearing about it more and more as people are virtual, that they're working for multiple companies. And I'm like, do both of your companies know that you're doing this? Well, one of them does.
So, and really, if you don't educate your employees or tell them your expectations, what's wrong with that?
Right.
I mean, they absolutely can go do that, but if you set out in your policies or your expectations of them that you will not be doing work while you're working for me, or you will meet these metrics,
yeah, because there's conflicts of interest issues.
exactly. So making sure that you are clear with your employees who are working remotely. I expect you during these times to be working for me, or when you're doing my stuff, this, and I expect to see this as a result. You're gonna know if they're not putting in what you need from them. So I think, again, communicating with your employees verbally and in writing is important.
So just, I would say this expression, if it's too good to be true, coupled along with it's too easy to be true. Remember that, because to just go out and start a business, there's much, much more to it, and there are rules, structure, it doesn't matter what generation it is. So it's too easy to be true, along with too good to be true.
Probably is, all right.
Any other questions?
I have a quick advice. Currently, we, being an employee's market, we have lost probably 3 out of 5 of our front desk employees recently due to one leaves because of higher pay, calls the next one, and then the next one's going, and so on.
Like,
So what advice or thoughts do you have on that?
So we have employees that they go leave and they say, hey,
Yeah.
So what you could consider is a sort of a non-solicitation type agreement. When you onboard somebody, if we separate for any reason at all, you agree you won't induce or expressly or directly or indirectly try to take your current employees wherever you're going and have that in effect for a current, a certain period. That may or may not hold up in court, but it will be at least a deterrent for employees to do that, especially if you might remind them when they're quitting, hey, we remember that non-solicitation agreement that we have in place. the real thing. So don't steal our people.
I would also encourage an exit interview. You can get a lot of information out of an exit interview. I have worked with my team to ensure that we are doing exit interviews on anyone who leaves an assignment as much as we can. I mean, we can't help those that ghost us and don't answer. But exit interviews, I can go to a client and they're like, we have a turnover. Why are we having this turnover? And I can literally sit there with information telling them why the turnover is. And that will, a lot of the times, give you the answers that you're looking for, what's truly causing that turnover. Because I can tell you, it's not always pay. And they always say it's pay, but if you really dig in a little bit deeper, I don't believe it's pay. So, I know we're coming up on a few minutes, and anybody else have a question?
I just want to add one more thing, because that was a great suggestion on exit interviews. Also retention. So your stay interviews, talk to your people. How are they doing? What more do they want to see? Having that conversation. Do we need to set up mentorships? How would you feel about this? And getting that feedback, because as the younger generation both told us explicitly, they want to have a voice. They want to feel valued. They want to feel a part of it. And that's a way that you can bring your younger generation into your culture, into your organization, by talking to them and finding out what they want to see out of the workplace.
So lastly, I'm Stacey with Express Employment Professionals. So here's my sales pitch. If you have any staffing needs, have any friends who have staffing needs or are currently looking for jobs, please reach out. We have a booth over there. It's got the little goodie bags with my information in there. Plus, everybody gets to walk away with one of these amazing bags where you get a puzzle, some information about culture, and some other great things. But seriously, if you have questions about staffing, HR, I have access to Jenny. I can call her and pick her brain on any HR questions as well. Please call me, text me. You can text my office as well. Only thing I'll ask for is put your name in there so that I know who's texting me or calling me, and email, of course. Or if you want to come up afterwards and ask me a question, I'm happy to answer that.
Something the Move app does the.
Yes, the Move app. And if you look at it, my picture looks like this. We cannot fix that. I like to be different and unique. We have the best drawing ever. We have a drawing for a $50 gift card, and I'm going to ask Miss Susan to do our drawing. I'd like to introduce you all to Miss Susan. She is our franchise owner. So get out your tickets. Ticket number 911. That's funny. 029. Yay! Congratulations. So before you leave, make sure you grab a bag, take a picture of my information. It's got it in there as well. Thank you all so much for coming. Thanks for those that are online. We appreciate you as well. Feel free to get my information, shoot me an email, call me, and I will send you a goodie bag as well.
Thank you all.